Okay, here we go. So, welcome, Penelope, and anyone else who's watching the recording to another one of our training sessions for Glow 2025. We're getting really excited about the conference, and it's only about 3 weeks away. So, we hope that you are excited to and are starting to prepare for the big day or days. So, thanks for being part of this extravaganza. And we're really excited to have you be part of it. And hopefully, this session will help you prepare and be as successful as possible with your session at Glow. This will be fairly quick, and then the slides, and then I'm going to uh, go into a tutorial about how to actually use the platform. And I am scrolling through this strangely, so well, anyway, I'll just keep going. So you are key to our success. This is all about the community that we have established and your participation in here. It's really, really helpful for you to be a cornerstone of this event in terms of promoting. Um, Penny, I know that you've been very good about putting up the flyer and that sort of thing and getting a lot of response. So that's really appreciated and really necessary. So we're really trying to do more than just an event. We really want to kind of help everyone build their professional learning network so that you have partners for collaboration and can learn from each other beyond Glow. So you are crucial to the success. In the presenter toolkit, which Penny I gave you earlier, there are social media graphics. There's a template in Canva that you can copy and make your own. There's a flyer that is translatable, and you can use the logos and that sort of thing however you see fit if you want to do something different. The conference flyer is great for emailing to people and throwing into a social media post. I use the Some More service to do that. Um, so just be aware that that is in the toolkit. So from now until you know, till now, basically, we have some sample kinds of tweets that you might want to publicize. Obviously, the call for proposals is not open anymore, but you can give a preview of what you're sharing over social media, what your session is, what time. Well, you know what the time is right now. It's the schedule's not published yet, but you know the time and encourage people to register. So this is kind of some of the ideas for promoting it over time. It really helps if you can have a multi-prong approach to where you're sharing this information. I've been sharing in mailing lists that I belong to for like independent schools. I've posted in several LinkedIn and Facebook groups, but sometimes direct email is helpful. And there's a template in the toolkit if you want to copy and paste and adjust an email to your friends and colleagues. It also helps if your school is promoting you and your participation in this. So if you feel comfortable doing that, feel free to ask your organization to share that you're going to be presenting at the conference. So those are just some ideas on how to, where to promote. These are some example social media posts. There are some other ones in the toolkit that you can copy and paste and customize as you see fit. But we want to make it easy for you to share and to share often. So here are some examples. In terms of setting up for your session, there's some technical requirements. One is you must use Chrome or Microsoft Edge, preferably Chrome. And if you use Safari or something else, you're going to have issues. It's the platform is not built for that, apparently. So Chrome is what we recommend. We also recommend that you use Google Slides. You can use another web-based platform like Canva, and share your screen from a tab. That works fine. Um, PowerPoint is a little trickier. You can use PowerPoint, but there's some special things that you have to do to make that work. But it's just a lot easier if you use Google Slides in general. And we have a template for you to fill in and use as you see fit at the for the beginning slides and the ending slides of your presentation. So please take a look at that. It's also linked in the toolkit. You just click on a link and it makes a copy in your Google Drive so that you can edit it. It is also really critical, as other attendees will tell you, to have your audio and your video permissions enabled in Chrome. And these are the directions on how to do it. Typically, there's a couple ways to do it. Usually, sometimes in my browser over here, there's something about site settings, and I can go in there to the privacy settings and enable my camera and my video. It's really important that you do this. Otherwise, you may not be able to use your audio and video in your in Ring Central. If it's still giving you issues, restart your machine, clear your cache in your browser, and try again. But for the most part, this is the key to solving any audio and video issues that you might have. So do not wait till the last minute to try this out in your room. You'll get in the next week or so, you'll get the link to your room and you need to go in there and practice. Okay. If you're on a stage, you can't really practice because I have to be in there to put you on stage. It needs an organizer to put you on stage. So if you're presenting on one of the main stages, you need to make an appointment with me to practice if you want. If you're in a session room, which most people are, you can practice when you get your link, no problem. Um, so anyway, you don't necessarily need to meet with me. You can just go ahead and practice. So those are some of the technical requirements that are foundational to your success. Some people are presenting for 20 minutes. You have 20 minutes for your presentation and then a 10-minute gap until the next half-hour session. Um, there are general sessions that start at the top of the hour and they go for 50 minutes, and then we want you to end so that people have a 10-minute break until the next set of sessions at the top of the hour. So, present for, 2/3 of your time and then use the last third for Q&A if you want. With lightning sessions, you might want to make that smaller for Q&A because you don't have that much time. Um, but these are some guidelines in terms of how you kind of time yourself with your presentation. Some of the rooms may not be, super busy. It depends on the time of day. We're usually busiest the first day. We're usually busiest the first, afternoon in the U.S. time zones. It really depends on where people are joining from around the world, and we tend to be a little North American centric. So, if there are not 5 million people in your room, it's okay. Present as if you're talking to thousands of people. And people do come and watch the recordings when it's convenient for them. So don't stress out. Present no matter what, and you'll be fine. So moderated, there are two kinds of session rooms for those who are in session rooms. One are open, which will allow you to have kind of a Zoom-like feel in your room. People can turn on their cameras and have a discussion with you without you having to give them permission. However, you don't have access as a presenter to our full suite of interactive tools, which includes emojis, confetti, breakout rooms, that sort of thing. So I recommend that people have moderated rooms unless they're having, a really open conversation. Um, in a moderated room, if somebody requests access to turn on their audio and video, you can enable it. So, it's not that people can't turn on their audio and video, it just means you have to control it. You click on something to enable somebody to turn on their audio and video. So, if you have a change in this, let me know. I know somebody emailed me recently telling me that they wanted to change, and I can't remember who it was, but I'll do it. So just let me know at some point, and it's just a click that I can do in the back end if you want a moderated room. There are some features in sessions if you're in a moderated room. Some of these are available if you're in an open room, non-moderated, but not all of them. So generally, there's a new thing now called material sharing. There's a Docs tab in your session room and in the event tab too, by the way, where you can upload handouts or your slides or whatever you want to share with people. So consider producing something that you want people to take away from them digitally, and you can upload it to this Docs tab that's next to the polls and Q&A and chat in your session room. It's a brand new feature. It's really nice to have. Um, so keep that in mind. You can do polls in your session. Please do not do polls in the event tab. That's for the whole conference, and I will not publish them if you post there accidentally. It's really important to kind of keep track of which tab, which room you're in. And a lot of people have issues with this, and I'll demo what I'm talking about when we get to the show and tell part of this. Stage presentations. If you are a keynote or featured speaker, again, book an appointment with me because you can't really practice on the stage. We have to put you on there. Um, and again, you have the same kinds of tools except for breakout rooms. There is a place for you to upload your documents if you want to share with people. There is there's a live chat, there is a Q&A queue, that sort of thing. Um, in terms of recording, session rooms are automatically recorded as soon as you go in there and turn on your audio and video. It will be recorded, and you'll see a red light in the upper right-hand corner. People have forgotten this before, and they say things that they don't want people to hear, and nobody's going to hear them because we don't publish everything. We try to edit the videos to when you start and when you end your presentation. But I highly recommend that you be aware of this. If you just turn off your audio and video, it doesn't record. Okay. You can be in your room and just turn off the audio and video, um, and you'll be fine. But just be aware of that red dot in the upper right hand corner that tells you that the recording is happening. When you are on stages, you cannot control the recording. The organizer that's assigned to your stage will have to start the recording for you. Um, Keep in mind that if in session rooms, if you um, if you get set up and then turn off your audio and video and go uh, get a glass of water or something, come back and when you start your audio and video again, do it right um, when your session's about to start so that we have a nice clean recording. Every time you turn it on and off, we get another recording. So it helps us if we don't have to edit your video when we publish them, if you have a nice clean recording and start right when you're supposed to, if that makes sense. I don't think I'm explaining that very well, but we can tell which one is your official recording. Usually it's the length of the allotted time and that sort of thing. So just be aware of this, and it makes life a little bit easier for us, but it's not a huge deal. Again, there are slides for you in the presenter toolkit to use. Keynotes and featured speakers do not necessarily have to use those slides unless they want to. Um, After your session, depending on how busy we are, we will publish your video to the replay tab in the conference platform. It is not downloadable, it's only viewable in that form, and it will be viewable for everyone for the conference for the 2 days of live sessions, and then it will be available only to paid ticket holders. You will get a copy of that video in a folder probably the week after, and you can do whatever you want with your video. So just keep that in mind in terms of how things are progressing. Here are some suggestions for designing your presentation. Don't use a lot of words. Kind of keep the text big and bold, and try to be as engaging as possible. You can try and be consistent with our template. You don't have to be at all. In terms of actually presenting, think about your audience. There are a lot of people from around the world who may not speak English as their primary language, as their mother tongue. And so going slower and avoiding slang and idioms is helpful because the translation may be lost on people. So think about how you're designing for an audience that may be a little different than you're used to. Um, and preparing, this is like your checklist. Right now, you're probably in the promoting stage. Soon you'll be practicing in your actual room and testing the technology. And on the day of your presentation, we ask you to come in 15 to 20 minutes early to make sure that you're good to go. We will have somebody checking on rooms to make sure that you're all set up, and they can help you troubleshoot anything as needed. So that's just a checklist. Here are some engagement strategies that you might want to follow. You don't have to, but these are some suggestions on making your presentation better. Uh, you know, think about the pacing of your presentation. Try to make it as interactive as possible. Pause for questions, pause for comments, or pose questions of the audience if you have significant numbers in your room. Um, and try to kind of keep the energy going in your presentation, and I think you'll be happy with the results. Uh, Make sure you're also talking a little bit slower than usual. Again, for English language learners, I tend to talk fast, so um, I need to work on that myself. The camera is important. I have a camera that's an external one instead of using the one that's built into my Mac. It has higher quality resolution and looks better. You don't necessarily need to go out and buy a camera. If you're doing a lot of virtual work in general, you probably do want to have a better camera at some point. And you want to look right at the camera, not at your slides. And I have a tendency to not get this right. So I have to practice adjusting. I also use a ring light. I don't have it on right now, but making sure you're well lit is important. You don't necessarily need a ring light, but if you're sitting in the dark, it's going to look like you're sitting in the dark on your camera. And we have backgrounds you can use, or you can make your own, or you can blur your background both in the stage and both on the session rooms. I think using a virtual background is nice. It gives a nice, especially in a panel or a group presentation, it gives a nice consistent look and feel to your presentation. In terms of sharing your slides, you have the ability to share a tab in Chrome, a window, or the entire screen. I recommend sharing from a tab. It always works better and looks more professional. And I'll show you that in the show and tell piece of this. And make sure you put your slides into presentation view. Sometimes people do not do that, and you can see the thumbnails of their slides on the left-hand side, and it doesn't look polished. So just keep this stuff in mind as you're working through things. If you do run into issues, here are some suggestions for common issues. One, for technical issues like sound, leave the room and come back. Restart your computer, clear your cache, all those kind of typical um, things for general troubleshooting are advised. There is a support page for RingCentral events that's linked in the toolkit. You can send them an email to RingCentral events if there's a technical issue. It may take them a while to get back to you. So, the day of is probably not the day to email them. Um, but there's also a searchable database of problems and solutions on that support web page. You can also reach out to me and any volunteers during the conference. In terms of audience engagement, here's some ideas that I've mentioned before. Um, and if you run over, just be aware that there are other sessions starting, and you don't want to really prevent people from leaving and going to the next set. So you may want to kind of summarize things and indicate to people that you're available to meet, outside of the event or outside of the session. In the conference platform, you can schedule meetings with people by clicking on their profile I think you can do it from the connection from the networking page as well. You can host meetings up to 20 people right on the platform. And so if you want to follow up with people instead of and end your session, you can do that. Um, if you finish early, have some extra discussion questions ready. If there are technical delays, be ready to kind of punt and um, engage your attendees in conversation. All right. So you already talked a little bit about these tools. You have polls, Q&A, chat, breakout rooms, material sharing called Docs. On the day of your presentation, here are some tips for success. Don't have 5 million tabs and programs open. Test your internet connection with the pre-event check link, which is available when you try to turn on your camera. I think it's also linked in the toolkit. And be in your room 15 to 20 minutes beforehand. Okay. So these are some suggestions on how to do things. After your session, you may have some attendees who want to follow up with you. Make sure that you've given them your email address or they can contact you through the conference platform. We'll send you a link to a folder where you can get your video within a week and a link to a place where you can request a certificate of participation and share your experience with others so that we get more people involved next year. And fill out the evaluations that are sent to you so that we can have an idea of how we can improve. There are support of resources available. These are linked in the slides. They're also on the toolkit. Um, so this information is here for you if you need it. Finally, this is be yourself. It's really important for you to be yourself and to be enthusiastic and show what you're passionate about. And people really respond to that, no matter where they are in the world. And so, think about, don't stress out about this. We want this to be a fun, engaging, practical, and useful event for everyone. And my hope is that you'll leave with at least one person that you can stay in touch with to do a project, maybe with your classroom, or perhaps you'll connect to one of the organizations that are highlighted and get involved with them. I want something actionable for you and for for other participants as a result of this conference. So we'll see you online November 19th and 20th. Here's some final tips. We are going to do a final speaker orientation November 5th, just to kind of go over everything and check in. And if you're available, you're welcome to come and keep on promoting the event because we really like to have as many people in rooms as possible. So next, I'm going to stop sharing for a second and I'm going to pull up and Penelope is not going to sleep yet, which is good. I'm going to pull up the site and show you really quickly some of the things I'm talking about with presenting in terms of using the platform. And I'm almost there. Let me go into a session room. And this week, when I get done with the student conference, I'm going to be building the rooms and the schedule. So it takes me a little while to do this, but stay tuned. You should have that link fairly soon. Okay, let me share again my screen. Okay, so when you go into Glow right now, it looks something like this. You're going to have a backdoor link that will let you in early to practice as a speaker. And that will come in the form of a spreadsheet. And you find your name in your session, and you just click on the link, and boom, you're in. Everyone who has been accepted as a presenter has been registered as a presenter. So you should have gotten an email around the time that you were accepted saying that you had an account made for you. So when I go in here to the event, it looks like this, and I'm previewing the event. This is the main page, which is the session page. There are stages. This is where the sessions will be listed. There's networking for speed networking, which is kind of like speed dating. There's an expo, which will be live when the conference starts. replay is where session recordings will be once we've processed them. And I'm going to go back up to the reception page because that's kind of the home base. On the right-hand side, you have the event chat, polls, people. These are people who are registered, Q&A for questions about the event, and docs. This same structure is duplicated, not duplicated, but is available in your session room. So I'm going to go back to my session room and show you what that looks like. So notice when I go into the session room, I now have a tab on the right-hand side that says session. This is the chat, this is the polls, these are the people, et cetera, under the session. I'm not in the whole event chat right now. This is the whole event chat. This is the session chat for this room. And very often, even if I try to color these tabs differently in the design of the platform, people are in a session watching, but they're posting in the event tab. So if we can get people to know where they are, it would be helpful. If you're in a moderated session room, you want to join the stage at some point, notice that my recording is not going. That's because I have not joined the stage. I have not enabled my audio and video. So, so, th- so, so this is why you don't see recording. Before I jump in there, and you can also see this eyeball here, this is only visible to moderators and speakers. This tells you how many people are watching. You can also see how many people are in the room under the session tab and people. So if you're curious if anybody's in there lurking, you can see that. And you can send them messages or private messages or, say hello to them in the chat, whatever you want to do. So the other thing you need to know is that there's some tools if you're in a moderated session. And these are breakout rooms. There's a session banner where you can have a welcoming message and maybe a link to your website. There are attendee engagement tools, which you can turn off. If you don't want people clicking on your screen and with confetti, you can turn that off. And same with emoji reactions and that sort of thing. So that's there, and you can customize that. Then there are different layouts for how your picture appears with your content. And you can choose the default one is fill. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. But there are different options that you can play with and decide which ones you like before you get going. So the other button here is your share menu. You should be able to share your screen and YouTube here. Um, I'll give you an example of how I do that. I click on share screen, and then I click on my slide deck. I should have that open in a separate tab, which I do over here on the right. And I click on share and it moves over to my slides. And I'm going to make sure they're in slideshow mode. Okay. Notice that it says here at the top, this is really, really important. Sharing this tab to Ring Central, I can stop sharing. If I click on here, I go back to Ring Central. That same tab is here. I can go back to my Google Slides and I can toggle back and forth between these two windows. So I present from this document, I'm moving the slides, right? Um, and then if I want to make sure that, people are responding or to whatever I'm talking about, I can quickly switch over here and look at the chat. This takes a little bit of practice. It's a little disconcerting for people who are used to Zoom, all being in kind of one window. These are basically two tabs that you're moving back and forth between. And if you have never done this before, it might throw you for a loop. So you definitely want to practice this. When you click on stop sharing, it will either take you back to your slides or the room here. You can tell where your room is in the tab because if you have your audio on or your video on, there'll be a little red recording button in the tab over here. Um, and I'm not recording right now because I don't have my audio and video on purpose. But now I'm going to do that. The final piece of this is to join the stage. This is your area where you can choose if you have an external camera or microphone, you can make sure that that's the one the platform is using by choosing your devices. I'm using something called an Insta360 virtual camera as opposed to the FaceTime camera built into my Mac. I also can switch to, I have a professional microphone over here called a Yeti, and I can have that be my sound input, and that improves the quality. You don't have to mess with this if you don't want to, but just be aware that that's here. The other thing that you will probably will miss, oh, you can also change your background here. And I don't know if my video is going to turn on because it is, but it's not going to show me because my camera is not attached, I don't think. You can choose your own background that are of the four that are here, or you can upload your own. We have some in the toolkit that you can use if you want to use one of the Glow branded ones. And then the final thing are two things here. Under more settings, this is really nice. Make sure you turn off mirror video. I don't think you need that on. And you can do remove noise or touch up video or soft light. And it gives, it enhances the recording if you do that. So you can turn those things on or off as you see fit. There's also a pre-event check that checks your audio video bandwidth connectivity and if you're having issues, this is really important that you make sure that you do this. There is a link to test this, I think, in the toolkit as well before ahead of time. So just be aware of that. So I'm going to click on apply selection. My camera's not on because I guess I don't have it plugged in, but this is where I would appear. If I wanted to switch this to my other camera, I would go back to um, my settings here. I would change it to my FaceTime camera, and now you should see me. I'm going to choose my background, and now I'm on stage. So here I am, and you can see now that it's recording because there is a red dot up there. You can also see what confetti looks like. Everybody can do confetti, so if you find it annoying, you may want to turn that off. There is closed captioning available for individuals. That should be down here. And I was using it yesterday in our student conference. It works really nicely. So if you're English as a second language learner or third language learner or whatever, um, this gives you a little bit of additional support if you can see the text at the same time someone's talking. So this is an individual button that people can click for their own accessibility. So that's really it. If you're on a stage, people will watch from the front end here, and this is where the stage will come alive at the appropriate time. But you actually go into a backstage area with a link that I provide, and it will have your name, underneath your picture. We can do slide and content sharing very similar to what we did in the session room. And you'll have chat and Q&A and docs also in the stage chat. You do not have breakout rooms in stages though. So be aware of that. And again, if you're a stage presenter, book an appointment with me so I can show you more. I'm not going to go into it in great detail in this tutorial because you can't do it. You can't practice yourself. You have to have me in the room or someone else with moderator privileges. So I'm going to stop sharing and Penelope, any questions so far?
Um, no, I just feel that I will need to practice.
Yeah.
So I will just, go there and investigate. But it looks amazing. It looks really nice, to be
Yeah,
honest. Yeah, I like it.
good. It's not hard, and once you do it once, you'll have the confidence to do it more.
Mm.
And the only problems I've seen have been when I had one presenter who was using Safari and insisted she was not using Safari, but she was. and she was wondering why it didn't work. So that was one issue. People losing audio. But if they come back and forth, we've seen
Mhm.
some bandwidth issues if people's connectivity is not great. My suggestion for that is if you feel like your internet connection is not strong and you're losing, going in and out, is to turn off your video. The video is the biggest
Mm.
burden on bandwidth. And just present with audio if you're having issues and can't, have a lag going on. But for the most part, this has been pretty successful with people from all over the world. So,
Perfect.
okay. Well, have a good evening in Spain, Penelope, and thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
I appreciate it. It's good to see you as close to this person in person as we can be. And
Yes,
let me know if you can't get into Notion. Okay?
I will. No worries. Thanks a lot. Thanks
Okay.
a lot for your time today, Lucy.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
day. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.